Hi again guys, and welcome to of course another tune setup for one of the 1.38 vehicles, this time the Renault Gordini. Of course we already touched on the fact it is in Group X, so there's not a wide variety of things that you can do with it beyond some of the more vintage or classic style events, but if you do want to use it for instance as a rally car, maybe for the fun of it, maybe in a lobby, then this could be the tune for you. Now as far as upgrades, I don't tend to upgrade my Group X cars that much if at all, because I don't use them enough for it to be justified, but if you want to do that, then by all means you can do so. I'm just a cheapskate when it comes to spending mileage points, so by all means do that if you want to. If you do increase the power though, you will want to extend the gears longer than I have, and we'll get to that in a second. Now traction control you definitely want turned off, of course. As far as the tyres, again, of course you want dirt ones. As far as the braking, I haven't adjusted the balance. For the suspension, I've got the ride height on 140mm front and rear, so it's higher but not ridiculously high. For the frequency and the dampers, but we'll get to the dampers in a second, I've got as low as possible. Likewise with the anti-roll. Now the reason why I've done that is primarily for the fun. I wanted this to look and feel and move like an old school rally car, even if that means that it's not necessarily the fastest thing around. So you could theoretically probably make it a little bit quicker if you stiffen some of those up, but that's not the point of the tune. It's all about the fun. It's kind of a special project build in a funny kind of way. Now as far as the dampers I mentioned, I've got those low as well for both compression and rebound. I do have a little bit of camber. It is rear engine, rear wheel drive after all. You don't necessarily need it though. So if you want to try and run it with none, you can. Again, I did it more so for the look. It has kind of a squat stance to it. As far as tow, that is neutral, of course. Downforce is also neutral because you can't do anything about it. For the diff, I've opted for the lowest settings, which is not too surprising for me when it comes to a rear engine, rear drive car. And as far as the transmission, finally, I mentioned just now, of course, that if you do give it more power, you will definitely need to adjust these settings. And this is not to be used on anything but a dirt track, because the top speed is only about 105, 110 miles per hour. It just gets through the gears really quickly. So again, it ups the fun factor. You want the fully customized transmission, the lowest possible auto setting. Then for the individual gears, we've got 3.3, 2250, 1750, then fourth and fifth, well actually fourth I should say is all the way to the left, fifth is to 1.1, but technically you could put that a little bit higher if you wanted to get say 115, 120 miles per hour out of it. Then the final drive is 4.125, but you will want to make some pretty drastic changes if you do upgrade the power. If you're running, for instance, way over 200 horsepower instead of just under 150, of course you'll need much longer gears, so especially fifth, but also especially the final drive, you will want to adjust those. But that's it for the tune. Now, of course, what you want to see is what does it look like in action, what does it feel like, and also what kind of lap times can it do in comparison to some of my other rally builds. Well, to speak first of all on the point of how fun it is, it's fantastic, and that's coming from someone who had pretty much no time for this car at all in GT6. I never had any interest in it. I found it boring to drive, not particularly interesting to look at. Yes, it's historically significant for the brand, but so are plenty of other cars. It doesn't make it one of my favourites. Now, I still wouldn't call this one of my favourites, but I will say it feels a lot more fun to drive now. As far as I'm concerned, it looks the part, it feels and sounds like that old school rally vibe. The softer suspension, that little bit of camber, it just gives it the kind of look of a rally car flowing through the corners, kind of rocking around a little bit, in a very similar way to what I like to call my dirt runner or mud runner builds for stuff like the Boss Mustang. Now speaking of that Mustang, that's an N300 build that I did a while back. Now this is as quick as that. You're looking at a 135, and doubtless you can get a quicker lap than that, of course, but that gives you some idea of how quick it can be. For a car with 150 horsepower, technically less, to be as quick as a Mustang with double the power, even on a dirt track, that's impressive. And it's thanks to, in a very classic Mini style, the cornering. It's so nimble, so quick, the average speed is so good through the corners, and it's such a joy to drive. It's just fun. It doesn't need a massive amount of power, kind of Toyota AE86 style, ironically, and I think that if you do try out this tune, you'll like it. So, of course, we are yet to see how it performs on the road, and stick around on the channel later today for my review to see that, but for now, that's it for this build, and I'll see you next time. So for now, as always, thanks for watching.